Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Alicia. Today I have something different that I don't normally do, but I couldn't almost decide how to name this video, but I have 6 tips on how to keep a more tidy and organized house. And one of my favorite things about the YouTube community is I learn so much. I will link 3 other YouTubers. I mean, they are huge in comparison, but they honestly have changed my life. Just watching their videos on organization, minimalism, decluttering. I feel like there's so many positive channels out there and places that we can gain little nuggets. And so these are just kind of 6 things that I've either learned from them or just done on my own to kind of have a cleaner, tidier, more organized house. Now, in all honesty, I'm sort of one of those type A organized people, so I like an organized house anyway. But anyway, I was gonna say, Clutterbug is one of my favorite channels. Dawn, the minimalism mom, and I can't think of the other lady's channel name, but like I said, I will link them down below. I really love them. Anyway, so something that this was more recent was mess versus clutter. And I really like this one. Basically, and I don't even think mess is the right word. If you are living in your house, there are going to be certain things that are left out. It's just natural. I think sometimes we see those Architectural Digest videos of their house. Well, of course, at that particular moment, every item of living has been put away. They're not going to have the hairspray out or the hairbrush out. And so I feel like sometimes with photos or whatnot, we tend to think that we have to have this perfect home where everything's put away. And that's clearly not true. So mess versus clutter, really, in my opinion, I would use the word lived in. On a day-to-day basis, you're going to have certain things out. It's not possible, unless you just have a lot of time, to have every single thing put away at every moment. So clutter, in my opinion, would be more like lots and lots of things that you're not using, just kind of everywhere. Whereas you're going to have a normal amount of stuff out. We're not going to have the perfect home. And so one example of that would be, you come in and let me show you something. Okay, so this is one example where we had people working in our house when I came home. So I couldn't put these things down where I normally would. So this is kind of a lived-in mess, but not really a mess. These items aren't normally on my nightstand. So you just have a lived-in area. In 2 seconds, I will have those things back where they go. But you just have sort of a normal, things are out. All right, tip number 2, and I think this is an original idea. I mean, it's probably not original, but as far as I know, this is just something I've done for decades. As I mentioned, I'm an organized person. If I lived alone, I pretty much would have everything put away to a certain extent. But I married, I shouldn't say a messy person, but a person that doesn't care. He doesn't care if there are things out. I'm not sure he would ever get to the point where he puts everything away, but I'm sure there's times where, he does. I know his desk at work is often messy, and it stays that way until his boss is like, don't you think you should clean your desk? So he does not care about mess or clutter or any of that. And so I think this is more of a strategy for accepting certain things. So in our house, we kind of have zones, and I'll show you a couple of mine that are pretty much always tidy. Pretty much always put away. The guest bedroom and our master are 2 of them that are pretty much mostly like the only ones that are always tidy. And it's not like every minute of every week. My daughter likes to I don't know, playing in her room is like a foreign concept. She likes to bring her stuff everywhere. But by and large, those 2 rooms I can count on for being tidy. So in my head, I'm excited that I have 2 rooms in my house that are neat, organized, and tidy. And then I've had to accept that there's going to be areas that are not. And I'll show you today for sure one area. So that's kind of how we I had to accept that there are going to be certain parts of our house that are just messy or clutterish. My husband's closet, which I will show you. His kind of nook in the garage. But kind of I've had to accept, my daughter's room at this point isn't always picked up. There's a lot of times where there's toys everywhere, and I've had to accept that. She's a kid. Of course, I want her to live in her house. I want her to play and have fun. And so that's how I've dealt with that. We have zones where they're, clean and whatever. I have other kind of in between zones. Our office and the kitchen are 2 that I try to tidy on a regular basis. But they're kind of 50% of the week, they can kind of be a little bit messy. And then 50% of the week, they're pretty much there. The living room and her bedroom, like I said, or the living room kind of has, I tolerate a little more clutter because she'll bring her stuff out there. But that's one of my tips, is just kind of having zones. So you kind of at least can have some space to feel good about. So let's go look at some of those zones. All right, one of my zones that is always pretty much put together is our master. Making the bed is also kind of a simple way to feel a little bit more put together. But you can see now the nightstand looks how it looks. So ordinarily, our master is generally put together. And so let's come see the closets. So this would be my husband's closet. It is often worse than this. So it is sort of a mess. So let's just tilt over to then my closet, which is neat and organized. So my closet is, again, generally a place where it's sort of a zone of organized and tidiness. I wish we could shut my husband's closet door, but I've just accepted that, I've just accepted that his closet is a messy space, and I'm okay with it. That's just how it's going to be. All right, tip number 3 is declutter to your comfort level. So I don't even know how I got onto minimalism videos, but those 3 ladies generally are sort of in the minimalist category. But what I love about them and a lot of other people is you can do minimalism to your level. And I would never be some people there seems to be spectrum of minimalism. What I really liked is the word inventory. The more inventory you have, the harder it is to keep a clean, tidy, organized house. So decluttering things, again, to your level of comfort. Everybody has a different level that they can tolerate. And so there's a couple of things, when you're decluttering, questions to ask yourselves. And there's all kinds of videos. A lot of people have free little worksheets that kind of give you a list. Starting small, sometimes it is overwhelming. So do one room or one closet or, one category. But do you love it? Do you use it? And if the answer is no and no, get rid of it. Donate it to Goodwill, find somebody in need, sell it, or put it on one of those free sites. Often I will sell things on Facebook Marketplace, and there are many times where it's free, and people come running when you put free. So find somebody else that could use it. Also, don't feel guilty getting rid of it. There are times where we make silly purchases. And technically, you could have spent $50, $100, $200 on an item, and you hold on to it because you feel guilty. If you're not using it and you don't love it, that item is just making you feel guilty or bad. So get rid of it. An example I have is during the pandemic, The machine at the gym I really love is the elliptical. And so I convinced myself that I needed to buy an elliptical. And I went through Facebook Marketplace and we found one. I believe we paid like $400 or something. My mistake was I didn't go check it out. I sent my husband. It worked. It was nothing wrong with the elliptical, but it was a different style than the gym had. It was really tall. I don't know how to describe it, but it was hard to get on, hard to get off. I almost felt motion sick when I was using it, so it basically never got used. My husband used it a little, my daughter used it a little, and I basically just had to almost, not really apologize to my husband, but basically like, I'm sorry, honey, this was a bad mistake, and we sold it. Thank God we found a buyer, and I think we only lost like $100 or something, but it was a mistake. And I could have kept it and had it cluttering my house and like basically taunting me that I made a dumb mistake. But getting rid of it feels good. I don't regret getting rid of it, whatever. So getting rid of things, don't let guilt let you hang on to it. I've done decluttering videos before. I will show you a couple areas that I've decluttered, but I don't have those lovely like before and after footage. But I do have past some decluttering videos. So I think that is a key to helping keep an organized and tidy house. Get rid of the extra stuff. Sometimes we don't even realize how much we have. Like in all my subscription boxes or just things, we had lots of like bags, like drawstring bags, tote bags. And I decluttered those a long time ago. I mean, we probably had 25 different style of bags. And I mean, how many do you need? So just getting rid of your stuff. Go through your closet, all kinds of things. But the less you have, the easier it is to manage. All right, I think we're just going to go on to the next one. Because like I said, I don't have any great before and after footage for that. Number 4, and it would be a struggle for me. I am not perfect at this by any means, but control the inventory you bring into your house. At the store, asking yourself questions. Do you love it? Do you need it? Do you have something like it already? So these are kind of questions. Is it in your budget? Can you afford it? I'm guilty of this. I am a shopper. And I really do feel like at some point, like shopping sort of fills some sort of emotional niche. But anyway, I've always liked shopping and buying things, etc. But an example would be yesterday at Walmart, or maybe, yeah, yesterday at Walmart. There was this really cool, like, kind of like a beach lunch box thingy. And I think, I don't know what the price really was, somewhere around the $20 or $30. And it was really cool. I would have used it. We go to the beach or to the park, and it would have been nice to pack my lunch. Nothing wrong. Would have used it, could afford it, all of that. But technically, I have a lunchbox that we use for the beach. It's not fun. It's black, but it's functional. This was kind of like a rainbow tie-dye pattern. Could I have bought the lunchbox? Absolutely. I could have bought that and maybe donated my black one, but it wasn't a necessary expense. So that saved me $30. So controlling the inventory. I'm not always good at doing that, but that's one example. Do you really need it? Does it fill a niche? Lots of people have like a policy of one in, one out. With the inventory, I don't do anything extreme with that. I'm fairly good at like decluttering. We take at least every other month, a bag or so to Goodwill, every quarter or so. So I'm pretty good at decluttering my stuff and my daughter's stuff. My husband and my daughter, if you let them, they would keep everything. My husband grew up poor, so he always feels like maybe we can use it later. My daughter would be the person who tells you she loves everything and can't get rid of it. So I don't have like a one in, one out, but since, watching these ladies or different people on YouTube, I have become more conscious. And I do more often think about, do we need it? But again, I'm not extreme. But again, managing the inventory. The less you have, the easier it is to keep your house tidy and organized. All right, tip number 5, organize or make over a troubled spot. So sometimes we, when we're like thinking of our whole house and trying to get it organized and tidy, it could be overwhelming. Like to start from scratch, it may be too much. And so pick one area and tidy that, organize that, give it a little makeover. And this sometimes can be like a 10-minute or less thing, which will tie into tip number 6. But one of my videos where I did kind of like a little makeover, I think it took me less than 15 minutes. And I have these in cabinets where we keep like the medicine, light bulbs, some toilet paper, towel, like bath towels and stuff. And it looked a mess. It literally took me 15 minutes to like sort through some things, get rid of some things, and organize it. And you feel, at least for me, I feel so much better that little area is organized. And then that kind of fuels the fire to do the next area and the next area. So start small. And it really helps. It kind of like, once the ball's rolling, it like snowballs into this huge thing. And it's just so nice to have things organized. So let's go see a couple areas where I have done that. And again, sadly, I didn't do before and after, but you can see the after. Okay, so this may not look like anything, and I'm more focused on this bottom area. This bottom area had gotten a mess. So I recently sat down on the floor, and this is our pantry, by the way, took everything out. The contact paper down there was atrocious. Randomly ripped it all out. That is new contact paper. And I wish I had it before and after because it was just cluttered and full of everything. And now it's, neat and tidy. You can see the leaf pattern. And really that day, you really can't tell, but I went and on every shelf, I threw things out that we weren't going to use or were old. And so the whole thing looks a lot better, although I don't really think you can tell. Again, I don't have any snazzy, before and after, although just trust me that down here it just looks so much more zen for me than before. It was just a cluttered pile of junk. All right, I am back with my 6th and final tip, and this one has been a total game changer for me, and this is the 10-minute cleanup. It can even be 5 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever, 8 minutes, whatever makes you happy. But at first, when I would see this in, I think, multiple videos, I would kind of think, yeah, right. What could you really get done in 10 minutes, 5 minutes? Honestly, set your time. It is uncanny. It has become, I would say, a habit where I do a 10-minute cleanup. And I really maybe like once or twice a week. And very often I will be like, okay, everybody, we are doing a 10-minute cleanup. My husband jumps up, my daughter jumps up. And I generally assign my daughter some things because she's 7. But she'll go spend 10 minutes in her room. My husband and I will do things. So you can make it a family affair. You get a lot more done in those 10 minutes. And I feel like it's manageable. Cora never groans and grunts because it's 10 minutes. Even by yourself, you get so much done. I would challenge you to set the timer for 10 minutes and you kind of do a reset. And I think this helps on any level, but especially after you've decluttered and maybe organized some rooms to kind of maintain it. Often the mess or lived in stuff you've left out can get totally cleaned up in 10 minutes. It is amazing how good you feel. So the living room and kitchen often is where I am focusing. We have kind of an open concept where the living room, dining room, kitchen kind of spill in. Right there, and we have a small house, by the way, so it's also maybe easier for me than other people if you have a large house. So we have a small house, but that 10-minute cleanup pretty much takes care of that whole area. And when we say 10-minute cleanup, I'm not really talking about, you're not mopping the floor or you can wipe the counters, but you're more putting away the mess or the clutter for the day, and it feels so good. So I often do that at night before we go to bed, so then you wake up to a more tidy, clutter-free house. So honestly, I would challenge you to set a timer, 10 minutes, and see what you can accomplish. It is amazing how much you can get accomplished in such a little time. Anyway, those are my 6 tips. I hope that helps. I would love it if you would leave me, if you have any tips or tricks for managing stuff at your house, I would love if you would let me know. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today, and I will talk to you soon.